Let's talk about the push-up. I think the push-up is often overly simplified, or maybe we just take it for granted that if you get down on the floor and you start pushing, that's a push-up. But there's a few little nuances that can really matter when it comes to safety and effectiveness of this exercise. So the first and obvious thing I think for most people is that we want to maintain a good plank position. So we don't want to see the hips sagging. I think most of us realize that that's probably not the best form. We also don't want to overcompensate by hiking your hips way up in the air like a down dog position either. So we want to maintain a nice plank. I'm going to demonstrate here in a second what this looks like. But we want to be able to maintain in gymnastics what they call a hollow position as well, which is pulling the belly button in and up into your ribs. So you're really pulling in that core and keeping it locked in. So that's going to look like I have a slight curve to my plank position, but don't mistake that for breaking the hips and bringing them straight up. When I say breaking at the hips, I just mean like bending like that, not actual breaking. But what we want to do is maintain a good neutral hip and lumbar position, but my thoracic is going to be flexed just a little bit to allow that good internal tension. Now from that position, we want to be able to push safely with the shoulders. Now if I were to ask you to come and help me push my car out of the ditch, I mean, I drive a Subaru, so it's probably not going to end up in the ditch, but if I did, you would not walk up to my car and help me push it out of the snow by going like this. So let's not push up that way either. That can be a really dangerous position for the shoulder. And I'm going to show you a proper range of motion too, which means the chest is actually going to touch the floor. And then from there, we're going to push all the way out to a locked elbow position. Now to get to that floor position with the chest, if my elbows are out to the side like a 90-degree angle, it may look good because we've got these nice 90 degrees. But if I were to get all the way to the floor to that position, I start to internally rotate the shoulder. So you can see from a side view here, that is not necessarily a very stable position for the shoulder to be in. And honestly, if you develop your musculature like that, not only is it going to lead to rotator cuff issues in the future, but you end up developing what I call D-bag syndrome, where you're just kind of like walking with the shoulders rolled forward like that all the time. So we want those shoulders to remain back and down and in a good neutral position. For that to happen, those elbows need to be down here in a more natural position. If you go to push the car out of the ditch, you're more likely to walk up to it like this, right? In a nice low position for the shoulders, you have a lot more leverage. Not only that, but you get to use the lats. If you reach back here and squeeze that meaty stuff right behind your shoulder that goes back into your ribs, that's your lats. And if you kind of learn to flex those a little bit as you're in that push-up, it almost creates like a leverage for you to be able to get more work done. So with all that being said, I want my hands about shoulder width apart, slightly out, and I'm going to have big frog hands. None of this stuff, okay? Big frog hands and turn out slightly. Elbows at 45 degrees is fine. Even in here is okay. And that's going to emphasize slightly different muscle groups, but anything from 45 and in is going to be safer for your shoulders while we're getting that full range of motion. Feet should not be leaning on each other, so I have a little gap between my feet. Hands just outside shoulder width apart, and I've got that nice tight hollow plank position. Now from that hollow plank position, I'm going to rock forward a little bit onto my toes, and then we're going to lower all the way to the floor and back through. Notice body is moving in one solid piece. I'm not going to bend at the hips to try to reach the floor, and I'm not going to sag so that my pelvis hits first. I'm going to pull it into that nice tight plank position, squeezing the glutes and abs, and the whole body moves as one nice solid piece through that full range of motion. Enjoy.